Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Lunatics Radio Hour podcast. My name is Abby Branker, and I am sitting here with Alan Kudan.
Hello.
And we have to say we're sorry. This was meant to be our Halloween special, but we got married, and things got away from us a little bit.
I tried to push the wedding, and Abby said no.
So we are sorry, but we're really excited to kind of close out our Friday the 13th series with you now.
I said the podcast comes first.
That's right.
She didn't listen.
We even, I'll admit, we brought our microphones to record at the wedding, like, you know, where we were for the wedding weekend, which we didn't end up having time to do.
But amazingly, we were too busy with other things.
Yes. So anyway, we are sorry, but we are excited because we are going to talk about the final 4 Friday the 13th movies, and they get pretty good. They get juicy.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, so we are going to kick things off with Friday the 13th, Part 9.
That's Jason Goes to Hell or Manhattan?
Jason Goes to Hell.
Okay.
In 1993, the 9th movie in the Friday the 13th franchise was released. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. And I love a film with a subtitle. Not only is it a part, it's like such a long, it's like a 4-part title. I appreciate that.
Yeah, sorry. That's important, though. That's a good delineation. I don't like it when it's just the subtitle.
Sure.
I need the number and the subtitle. It helps. It lets you keep track of where you are in the series.
And it gives us a little flair.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the whistle?
Because, like, Hellraiser Awakening or whatever, if that's even sounds like one, doesn't it? I don't even know if it is. But, like, where's that in the franchise? I don't know. It doesn't even exist? Probably not.
Probably not. This film is the first in the franchise to be produced by New Line Cinema and not Paramount. So remember, the first 8 films are all produced by Paramount. This one is a shift. Again, spoilers, we're here to talk about the Friday the 13th movies. If you haven't watched them and somehow you're on part 3 of this series, then go give them a watch and come back. But the film starts out with a bang because Jason is completely and totally shot to smithereens by the FBI.
It's the FBI?
Yeah, I think they're all wearing FBI outfits.
They are wow, they're very, I thought it was like military.
No.
I mean, regardless, it's you know, officials.
It's Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, Mulder and Scully because they have like machine guns and rocket launchers.
It's a special task force.
The SWAT team. It's the SWAT team taking down Jason.
But as we know, even the loss of a physical body can't stop Jason.
Apparently, which is dumb.
In a truly wild plot twist, Jason's evil spirit starts to possess different people and continues to kill. Lore becomes established that only members of Jason's bloodline can kill or resurrect him.
Why?
Couldn't tell you why. I just know that that's the point that they make in this movie.
All right.
We figure out that Jason has a half-sister, first time we've ever heard of her, and a niece.
And it's Laurie Strode.
Jessica Kimball. Jason continues to body hop until Jessica finally gets her shit together enough to stab him with an enchanted dagger and send him to hell. I don't know what, there's something about the like Friday the 13th franchise in certain movies that just is so Twin Peaksy to me. And the diner in this movie and like the personalities at the diner, they're like, they just have this like quirkiness to them that feels very much like Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the first one where like Jason is in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because then it's different.
And yes, other actors playing Jason, I guess. But,
which must have been fun for them.
Yeah, for sure. But also, it's like a different killer every time. So it's I don't know, this did not feel like a Friday the 13th movie at all.
Plus, like the way it starts, killing him immediately, which never happens. Suddenly they figured out how to do that.
Yeah, they blow him up.
And then sort of like this supernatural sending him to hell. It's all, I don't know. I see your point. It doesn't feel quite like a Friday the 13th movie.
Listen, I was really, for the first time in this entire franchise, I was disappointed. Because the title really built this up. You know, we saw what happened when he goes to Manhattan.
Yeah. Barely. We mostly saw what happened when he's on a boat.
Yes. I mean, it was too short. But while he was there, it was fun. Meanwhile, Jason Goes to Hell, apparently. We never see him in hell. I was expecting Jason having to fight his way out of the 9 circles. you know,
That's a movie we need.
just you know, battling demons, or of him just like slashing a bunch of like bad people that are locked in hell with him, you know, like that'd be freaking cool.
It would be cool. Like you try to put him in whatever the circle for killer murdering is, and then he like climbs his way out. That's cool.
I want to see Jason, you know, like on a fiery plateau with Hitler, and he,
Whoa.
you know, and he just fucking dices him up because he
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
and then he gets his pardon. But I don't know. That never happens. So that is gonna go into my Friday the 13th fan fiction, but instead we see a lot of weird actors stomping around with serious looks on their face pretending to be Jason.
Yeah.
And every so often someone touches them and we get a flash of someone who looks like Jason, I guess. It's just dumb.
Yeah. It is dumb. As we said, though Jason's character is ever present in the 9th film, Jason in his body as we know him only appears briefly in the movie. And in a head-scratching turn of events, Freddy Krueger's glove actually comes out of the ground where Jason had sunk into and gone to hell. Which you would think, oh, this is alluding to something, but we don't get there for quite a while.
Well, my understanding is that that was planned to be the next thing. And then for whatever development hell happened, that's the real hell story.
Well, it makes more sense.
So Jason doesn't go to hell. The Jason and Freddy team up goes into development hell. And then that it doesn't happen until like, you know, 20 years later.
It also just like doesn't make sense. We'll get there, but Jason goes to hell and then we never come back to that again in the franchise. So the 9th movie had a budget of $3 million and brought in $15.9 million in the US. Jason Goes to Hell was directed by Adam Marcus. Marcus is a horror writer and director. He also directed Secret Santa from 2018, and he wrote Texas Chainsaw from 2013. He's also credited as a writer on this movie. Jason Goes to Hell has a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There are fun moments in this movie.
Sure.
Some of the kills are kind of cool. However, it promises so much in the title alone, and it doesn't deliver.
It's the same. Yeah, I know you just said this, but it's the same issue with this franchise. Like Jason Goes to Manhattan mostly takes place in a boat. Jason Goes to Hell mostly takes place in a suburban town. And jumping ahead a little bit, Jason in space takes place on a spaceship. Like I don't know. I just feel like they all could go bigger than they do, and we'd be down for that.
Definitely. I'm here for it. And, you know, well, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of ourselves talking about the future of the franchise. But Jason Goes to Hell I was really thinking that was going to be a high point, and it was just kind of something we glanced over. But it's also because of what came next.
That's right. Let's talk about Jason X from 2001. Honestly, I wish this movie jumped the shark even more. But as Jason X opens, we see that Jason is being held in a government lab. He has been captured by the government, and they decide to cryogenically freeze him. Then we jump ahead over 400 years, and a group of explorers and scientists, mostly wearing knitwear, find Jason's frozen body as they explore Earth and bring it onto their spaceship. They decide to thaw him out, and as he regains his consciousness, he continues on his never-ending killing spree. Though, in a fun turn of events, Jason is almost destroyed, but the ship's nanotechnology, essentially a bunch of electronic bugs, rebuild him into a super version of himself. The surviving scientists, again, all wearing knits, which I cannot understand that choice for space.
Wearing knits?
They're all wearing knitwear. They're all wearing 90s, like, crocheted garments.
Yeah, that's what you do. It keeps you warm.
So all of these scientists fight to escape as Jason rampages through the ship, and it ends with a final battle as Jason is hurled toward Earth 2. It's a mix of sci-fi and slasher parody, known for its self-aware humor, futuristic setting, and over-the-top kills.
First off, the movie opens with Jason being held captive in a military facility, and they're going to transfer him to some research facility. But it's like there's like the lead scientist that says, we can't move him. It's too dangerous. And they're like, of course we're going to move him. We need to study him. And we need to study him because he's unkillable and he regenerates all this tissue. And like, that's like a weird aspect of these like slasher villains that is never explicitly stated sorry, I can't think of another time where it's explicitly stated, where the military wants to study Jason because, like, yeah, he's a super weapon. Like, you cannot kill this guy. You shoot him with bullets, he keeps going. You literally kill him, you send him to hell, he comes back. He's fine. Of course the military wants to study that. I think that's super cool, and I'm glad it was addressed. And then, yeah, it goes awry because he pokes his little machete through the edge of the cryo tank, and then it leaks out, and then his scientist gets frozen, and then 400 years in the future, for some reason, no one opens the door in the meantime. That was an interesting plot point. But this was just such a crazy movie. First off, Friday the 13th in space. Someone pitched that idea, like, okay, but how? And they tried really hard to make it plausible. And I appreciate that. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I think the funniest part of the movie for me is when the ship plummets. They're heading towards that other space station, and the ship like kind of plummets into it, and the whole thing explodes.
That was a great moment. My favorite part. So this movie, hang on, this movie has the best kill in the entire Friday the 13th franchise.
Hot take. Which one?
The liquid nitrogen head smashing.
Sure. Okay. It's pretty good.
Shoves head into liquid nitrogen. Head freezes solid in like 2 seconds. And like you watch it from inside the tank. And then he just smashes the woman's head on the table. And then she's like a little stump.
Uh-huh.
It's so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a creative kill. The way it was filmed, it's great.
We'll have to reminisce at the end of this episode about some of the best kills from the whole franchise.
That's the only one I care about.
I want to read you a quote from renowned film critic Roger Ebert's review of Jason X.
Oh, geez.
Quote, "The movie is a low-rent retread of the Alien pictures, with a monster attacking a spaceship crew. One of the characters, Dallas, is even named in homage to the earlier series. The movie's premise: Jason, who has a unique ability to regenerate lost and damaged tissues, comes back to life and goes on a rampage, killing the ship's plentiful supply of sex-crazed students and staff members. Once you know that the ship contains many dark corners and that the crew members wander off alone as stupidly as the campers at Camp Crystal Lake did summer after summer, you know as much about the plot as the writers do." End quote. He gave the movie half of a single star.
Wow. Let's be honest. Jason X was not made for Roger Ebert.
That's true.
So, and that's okay. This movie was made for me.
It was made for Alan Kudan.
I loved it. It's so fun.
Is it your favorite?
It's tough. I don't want to say my favorite until the end.
Okay.
But this is tied for first, I'll tell you that. For nothing else, I love that we get Uber Jason. And that is his canonical name. When Jason is so fucked up that and then the nanites leak onto him. And we established this technology early on in the movie when Dove's arm gets chopped off.
Your friend Dove.
Dove Tiefenbaum, that's the actor.
From Harriet the Spy, the kid with the purple socks.
That's correct. I did a movie with him years ago, and I had not seen Jason X at the time. And I deliberately waited until after we were done filming to watch this movie. And I'm very glad I did, because I would have asked him endless questions about it. You know, we see these like little nanomachines recreate a missing part of his body. And then they do that to Jason, and then he fuses with all this metal, and he was already this like walking juggernaut, and now he's this like super powered juggernaut, which like I'm there for it. I love it. You know, we see that in the Alien franchise, in I think Alien Resurrection, when like the xenomorph gives live birth to the alien human hybrid thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, or an even better example in Alien versus Predator, when they make the alien predator hybrid, which of course is just like super powerful. In this case, you have Jason. It's like half Jason, half robot. You already couldn't kill this thing, and now he's also bulletproof and crazy strong and has abilities. It's just cool. I like it.
It is cool. It's cool.
Like a teenage boy probably wrote this movie. A grown man teenage boy wrote this movie, and I'm so thankful they did.
Jason X cost about $14 million to make.
Should have cost 50.
And it brought in $13.1 million in the US and just shy of $4 million globally.
Ugh.
Meaning all in it made about $16.9 million, just barely profitable from the box office.
But now it's just raking it in.
Jason X was directed by James Isaac. Isaac had worked on many special effects teams, including for Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and Gremlins. As a director, he also worked on Skinwalkers from 2006 and The Pig Hunt from 2008. But as much as Alan likes Jason X, I like Freddy vs. Jason. In 2003, the world was blessed with Freddy vs. Jason. Directed by Ronnie Yu, and Wes Craven is credited as the writer, along with Victor Miller and Damian Shannon. The film opens with a very strong early 2000s vibe. IGN's subheading on the review says, Freddy vs. Jason review. The audience loses. The review, written by Scott B., goes on to take issue with the central plot lines of the movie, especially knowing this movie would be seen by mostly superfans of these franchises. Quote, let's start with the central conceit of the screenplay, written by newcomers Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, a virtual army of screenwriters ranging from Blade scribe David Goyer to the Crow writer David J. Shaw took shots at unused drafts. That Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, has lost his power to wreak nightmarish havoc because he has been forgotten. Excuse me? I just rewatched the original Nightmare on Elm Street, brilliantly written and directed by Wes Craven, the other night, and it's clear in that film that Freddy is virtually unknown to its teen protagonists, a real-life boogeyman who has receded into urban legend and jumping rope song warnings. But this movie posits a Freddy stuck in hell, who needs the aid of Jason, Ken Kirzinger, replacing veteran Jason, Kane Hodder, much to the ire of Friday the 13th fans, to bring terror back to Elm Street. Each of Jason's kills and the ensuing fear they provoke give Freddy more power. I know this probably sounds stupid and incomprehensible, but believe me, I am, if anything, actually clarifying the story far more than the filmmakers do. End quote. I wanted to include that quote because I liked some of the background that it gave into the film process and other famous horror writers who had taken stabs at this draft and kind of some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I also just thought it was funny how much this guy hated the movie. So Freddy resurrects Jason, and Jason starts to kill again. Freddy is banking on the fact that the new fear this will inspire will get people to believe in him again. But as we all know, Jason simply refuses to be controlled. He kills Freddy's would-be victims, and it turns into a battle between Freddy and Jason. Back at Camp Crystal Lake, Freddy and Jason fight both on land and in dreams. The ending leaves it ambiguous, so we don't really know who truly wins. Jason emerges from the lake holding Freddy's severed head, but Freddy winks, suggesting neither can die for good, which was, I don't know, I thought this was sort of a fun meta nod to the everlasting slasher motif. To me, this movie felt more like an action movie than a horror movie. I remember saying that to you as we were watching it.
So we had a bunch of Hollywood writers working on this movie, which really speaks to the fact that this movie took so long to come out. It was supposed to come out, a decade earlier, at least, because they alluded to it after the 9th Friday the 13th movie. And everyone was really looking forward to this movie, and then, just got lost in development hell.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We can look back in hindsight and be like, wow, how crazy that this movie was alluded to like 20 years before it actually came out. But it's actually, and you know this better than I do, but it's so complicated to get movies made. And there's so much politicking and bureaucracy that goes into it at the studio level that when you think about Friday the 13th as a franchise, it's actually like a miracle that any of these movies exist and that they're getting the budgets that they're getting, especially because Jason X, which came out right before, was like the worst ROI of any of these. And so I guess maybe that's why they wanted to combine it with Freddy to give it a chance again.
I mean, it's also a franchise crossover. So the licensing and all the rights and everyone has to sign off on it. It gets really, really complicated.
Right, true.
Yeah, the mythos gets a little wonky. The quote's talking about how in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's unknown, but now he has to be known to have power. Like, okay, sure. You know what? In the first Friday the 13th, Jason couldn't body hop. In fact, he was his mom.
Very true. Yeah.
So maybe he could.
That's, I guess, the essence of a slasher franchise.
Yeah, you reinvent shit as you go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like this movie, I remember it in theaters. Like, I remember it coming out with such an ad campaign. that, I don't know, it made quite the impression. Like, yes, I was the exact age to be super excited for this movie.
You were the target demographic.
Although I wasn't. The target demographic was super fans of the franchise. And I remember when I finally saw it for the first time, which, was some sleepover.
Sure.
When we watched it, it was very much I had seen at least one Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I had not seen any Friday the 13th.
Mm.
And this is very much a Nightmare on Elm Street movie that has Jason Voorhees in it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And they also just never explain Jason lore. They only explain they only discuss Freddy lore in detail.
Yeah.
And like, yes, it's Freddy Krueger doing the narration and talking about all this shit, but also like, yeah, you just don't talk about Jason, despite the fact that he's kind of the pinnacle slasher.
Yeah.
Like when you picture a slasher villain, you picture Jason, whether you know who he is or not.
Yeah. I'm actually just thinking now about the ending too, like when Jason is carrying Freddy's head, and I don't know, it would be fun. We did like we did something many years ago where we pitted all the different villains against each other and
The Scary Scuffle.
And we figured out who won. But it would be fun to kind of limit that because it got so crazy because you have so many different types of villains. It's interesting to think about. I guess my point is just slashers against each other, because I think who are the other like supernatural slashers besides Freddy? Like they'd obviously fuck up Michael because he's kind of supernatural, but not in the way they are.
So when we did the Scary Scuffle back in the day,
Yeah.
we limited the lore to the first movie in each franchise,
Okay.
which was very deliberate. Did we even have? I don't think we even had Jason in it. I don't remember. I think Pamela Voorhees was in it.
Right, because that was
the first
movie.
one.
Yeah.
And if he was, he'd be featured as Friday the 13th Part 2.
We should redo it, but we could pick whichever one we wanted. Like we could pick which Jason from which movie.
So in our ill-fated follow-up episode of that, which never happened.
Someday.
It was about sequels. And
okay.
so we chose, I put this together, a list of like 25 movies, and they were various sequels. And we pulled very specific versions of each villain. In this was Jason X, I remember. So we'd have Uber Jason, who honestly, he'd do pretty well. And I remember another one was Leprechaun in Space. So, you get the little space version of Leprechaun.
Oh, it would be fun to do like all horror villains in space. Wait, is Jason X the strongest version of Jason, do you think?
Uber Jason is hands down
technology?
the strongest version of Jason.
Okay.
And, this bothered me. I mean, no, Uber Jason can do no wrong. He does not bother me whatsoever. Sure. It bothered me in Freddy vs. Jason, where all of a sudden Jason's weakness is water. And it's like, no, he's a fucking amphibious hunter.
Right.
He's a drowned zombie. And it's like, oh, he's afraid of water because he drowned. Ah, okay, I get that. No, that's not how that works. His like place of power is the lake.
Right.
And like he lives in like even in Freddy versus Jason, they like he lives in like a half sunken swamp.
Right.
But he's afraid of when Freddy turns on the shower. He's afraid of the water.
Right.
Like, no, come on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's my only pet peeve with this movie. Everything else about it is perfect.
Freddy vs. Jason had a budget of about $25 to $30 million, and it brought in about $116 million in the U.S. These numbers are much bigger than the previous installment and owed to the combined power of the horror franchises. And then, in 2009, our story comes to a close with the final installment, or I should say the latest installment, of the Jason Voorhees saga. Directed by Marcus Nispel, the series is rebooted with two of the same writers from Freddy vs. Jason. The 2009 version brings new, young energy to the series. At this point, the franchise threw all caution to the wind and introduced Michael Bay as an executive producer, at least. The final installment cost $19 million to make and brought in $65 million in the U.S. and $93 million globally. But despite that, we haven't seen a new one since.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, first off, I don't like this movie. I think it's kind of dumb. It follows the same trope that we've seen during this time period with Halloween, where it's like, you know what, we really need to bring the series back to its roots and make it scary.
I thought it was scary. To me, it was scarier than the others for me.
It's scarier than the others, but that's not the charm of this franchise.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess it depends if you judge Friday the 13th by its original or by the franchise.
I don't really love the first Friday the 13th. I think it's just kind of boring. I love Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
He does great.
He does great.
It's okay. It's not where the series shines. There's enough similar. There's enough things like it out there.
Yeah.
And maybe for its time. Maybe for its time it was incredible. But through the lens of history, there's better stuff out there.
Yeah.
But in this 2009 remake, they try to remove as much camp as possible, despite the fact that Michael Bay's there. They still have some very memorable kills.
Sure.
The sleeping bag was amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Slinging her up like a piñata and just whacking her around. That was great. Or no, he puts her. No, sorry, he doesn't sling her up.
He just whacks her around.
Yeah, he just whacks her a whole bunch in the sleeping bag, like how you get rid of cats.
No, don't say that.
You put a bunch of potatoes in the sack with a cat. You swing it around.
No, Alan.
And then when you're done, you got a little stew.
As he's petting.
As I'm petting the cat. But I don't know. That was fun. That's honestly the only part of the movie that I remember.
Yeah. So let me refresh your memory. After the film's cold open, we meet a group of young adults arriving at the infamous Camp Crystal Lake. This group runs into Clay, who's played by Jared Padalecki from Gilmore Girls fame. And what's that other show he's in? Supernatural? Searching for his missing sister. The young adults, notably not teens, explore the old cabins and woods. Jason comes back and starts to terrorize and kill them. And it is, in some ways it is quite fraught with sex and drugs. And, it follows the same formula that you'd expect. If you have sex, if you do drugs, you die. Friday the 13th, 2009 has a 26 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's not a bad movie. It's just not anywhere near what I want out of the franchise, and that precedent has been set with previous ones.
It didn't feel, I guess, particularly fresh. Like, it has, like, this young energy to it. It has a modern energy to it, but it's not like, oh, that movie's something, interesting, or it feels very, very formulaic by that point. Have you ever listened to an episode of Lunatics Radio Hour and thought, man, I'd love to wear a shirt or carry a tote bag that represents my interest in this very niche topic?
I know I have.
If you're in the market for a doppelganger-themed tank top or a Bloody Mary tote bag, we've got you covered. Head to lunaticsproject.com and click on merch to browse our haunting and highly specific merch store.
Also, the one right before it was Freddy versus Jason, which is just Silly Town, 101.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's so fun. And then you get to this, which is like dark and gritty. And it's like, come on, Michael Bay. Just
get your shit together.
Make it silly. You can do it. I've seen you do it.
You usually do. From a box office perspective, the opening was strong. It had one of the highest openings in the franchise for a February release, especially for a horror slasher remake. However, it experienced a steep drop in its second weekend, which signaled weaker staying power than the initial hype. The film also brings us an alternative mask origin, which I thought was interesting. It's the first time where, and it's a reboot, so okay, but it's the first time where he finds the mask again, and it's not from the third film when that kid gives it to him. He just finds it in one of these old houses.
Cool. He finds it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, okay. Oh, sure. There's not... Yeah, I guess the lore that it tries to reestablish isn't all that interesting.
Yeah, it treads over well-worn ground without adding much. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Godzilla reboots in that the main allure is of like the Godzilla reboots is like you're seeing stuff that was previously incredibly low-budget campy stuff done with Hollywood level budgets. And like that's the allure. Is the story as good? Is the character development as good? No, but that's not what you're there for. With this movie, you have all the effects and zhuzh, but it's just a slasher movie.
Right.
There's no giant CGI creature. And also, like, the one before it had so many effects because it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, basically.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and it's many years between these, right? It's 5 years or so between them, but 5 or 6 years. But yeah,
But it's been 16 years since that came out.
I know. We're still waiting.
Still nothing. But on that note, so there is still, like, it's kind of wild that there's been no new Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
With all of these franchises, you think there's like, it's such a cash grab.
Well, the Halloween even rebooted
Absolutely.
a few years ago. Yeah.
And then they cranked out a whole trilogy. Was it good? No. But
The first one was.
it was fun. And it was like exciting to just watch a new Halloween movie, especially one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
good.
but while she still got it.
She's always going to have it.
Apparently, they've been trying to develop a new Friday the 13th movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Leak.
if anything, it's going to be a long ways off because it's completely entangled in legal issues, which it isn't always. All these like super successful franchises, people just buy the rights and sit on them and just wait for someone to buy it off them.
So annoying.
It's really dumb. I guess there's a Crystal Lake TV series, which I was unfamiliar
Yeah.
with. Either that was done by A24 or this new one's going to be A24.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but that means nothing anymore. A24
True.
is so big
Yeah.
that it's like saying something is a Netflix original.
Right.
Wow.
That's
That means somebody else made it and then they just slapped their
They
name
bought
on
it,
it.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
The latest and greatest Friday the 13th content is the Friday the 13th game
Okay.
called Friday the 13th the game.
The video game.
Yep. I guess it's an asymmetrical. What's the term? It's an asymmetrical something where you either play as Jason or you play as one of the counselors.
Oh, that's fun.
And you're just one of the counselors running around trying to survive. It's an online only game because it's all live people. There's no bots.
Is that the one where I swam for a long time?
That is correct. You've
That
played
was
this
fun.
game.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to come out with a sequel for a while that's still in development to that game. So that's, again, it's a weird thing to put out that game that came out like, what, 2022 maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Weird thing that came out in 2020, if it was 2022, but around that time.
It was around then.
And then the previous movie was 2009. That's a big gap in time.
They know that people needed to scratch their itch, though.
I guess so, but usually that is in tandem with some kind of movie or TV show release. So I actually just Googled. It was 2017.
Oh, time flies when there's a pandemic.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow, I didn't realize it's been that long. The new game, they're aiming for 2026.
All right, fingers crossed.
So who knows?
Who knows?
This is all from one post on Reddit.
Where Alan gets all of his information.
But this is from someone that attended the Crystal Lake Nightmares, which is a Friday the 13th convention.
Oh, that's fun. We should go. Now we're experts.
And he talked to Kane Hodder about it.
Oh, that's cool.
He said, I'm not involved.
Well, why would he be?
But he could have been bluffing, according to this post.
He doesn't have any voice acting.
Yeah,
He's
that's
just a
right.
body.
That's right. Yeah.
Why would he be involved in the game?
I don't know. Motion capture?
Sure.
Uses likeness?
Sure.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of this series has to be the soundtrack. The iconic song with its was actually created by composer Harry Manfredini. Manfredini was whispering "Kill Mom" into a microphone and heavily echoing it. Over the course of the 12 movies, 10 different actors played Jason, each bringing their own subtle differences to the monster. Freddy vs. Jason ended up being the highest-grossing film in the franchise. Jason Takes Manhattan was the lowest-grossing film of the bunch. But overall, the series brought in over $460 million worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing horror franchises in film history. But back to a question that you asked me, Alan, at the very beginning of this series.
What was that?
Is there any plot point that connects the series to the Friday the 13th title at all?
I don't know.
And as we now know,
No.
the title was originally only selected for marketing reasons, and it was loosely worked into the plot. The film mentions that the original killings at Camp Crystal Lake began on Friday the 13th, when a young Jason Voorhees drowned. Pamela Voorhees' rampage takes place years later, also on a Friday the 13th, supposedly marking the anniversary of her son's death. After that, it never comes up again. All right, Alan. So your favorite Friday the 13th movie of all time is?
My favorite Friday the 13th movie is Jason X. My favorite movie in the franchise is Freddy vs. Jason. I just don't consider that to be a Friday the 13th movie. It's far more a Nightmare on Elm Street.
My favorite Friday the 13th movie is Friday the 13th, Jason Lives from 1986.
What part is that? 3,
6.
4, 7?
Part 6. Which is the one where it starts in the cemetery and he gets sort of
that one rocks.
reanimated from a lightning bolt from a metal rod from the fence. Just, yeah, so good. I loved it.
That might be the best pure Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Jason X is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and listening to this series. It was really fun. Again, I was surprised how fun and not scary these movies were, which was a bit of a relief. We will be back very soon. We have one more installment for you, and then we're moving on to some really fun topics to close out the year. Thank you, as always, so much for listening. We love you. Stay spooky. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Looking for even more creepy content? Consider joining our Patreon for way more content just like this, including bonus episodes and very special deep dives. You can also join us on Discord if you want to stay involved in the conversation, and find our video content on YouTube, TikTok, or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you like to get your social updates. And of course, head to lunaticsproject.com where you'll find our very, very spooky merch and links to everything you need to know.
Are you upset by our egregious fabrication of facts? Tell us about it on Discord.